I don't even know where to start after what we just saw at Martinsville. This weekend gave us two completely different kinds of chaos, and both are going to stick with NASCAR fans for a long time. One was pure frustration, the kind that leaves you staring at the screen like, what just happened? The other was one of those emotional, goosebump moments that reminds you exactly why we love this sport. The craziest part? Both stories unfolded on the same track in the same race just hours apart, and they couldn't have felt more different. If you're a real NASCAR fan, you know days like this can shift momentum, change seasons, and redefine drivers' trajectories moving forward, so we've got to talk about it. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe. We're pushing hard toward 11,000 subscribers on NASCAR Nation Report. If you live and breathe this sport every single week, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. The first story coming out of Martinsville is one of the most confusing and aggressive moments we've seen in a while. It went down late in the race on lap 324. On the restart, tempers were already running hot like they always do at the short track. Then Bubba Wallace absolutely drilled Carson Hocevar heading into turn 3. And this wasn't a normal bump and run, it was multiple hits. Wallace got into the back of the number 77 once, then again, and then just drove straight through him. The field behind them had nowhere to go, and a massive pileup erupted down the front stretch. Here, what has fans scratching their heads? When you watch the replay, Hocevar didn't do anything that looked retaliation-worthy. Yeah, they went 3 wide earlier into turn 1 and Wallace clearly didn't like it, but this felt like a major escalation. Even Wallace admitted it afterward in his interview with Jamie Little. He said, "I misjudged, I didn't mean to turn him." He owned that he got it wrong in the center of the corner, but the damage was already done. Hocevar somehow salvaged a 15th place finish, which is impressive after taking that kind of contact. Wallace, on the other hand, was done for the day. He wrecked out and finished 36th. And if you're a Bubba Wallace fan, this one hurts. That's now back-to-back finishes of 34th or worse. Just a few weeks ago, he was second in points. Now he leaves Martinsville all the way down in 11th. That's a brutal momentum swing early in the 2026 season. After the race, you could hear the frustration in his voice. He talked about how much expectation they had coming into one of his favorite tracks with the Hardy's car and how they just couldn't deliver when it mattered, even though they looked fast in practice. We've seen this pattern before with the 23 team, speed early in the weekend that doesn't always translate on race day. The good news, Easter break is coming up. This team probably needs that mental reset before heading to Bristol on April 12th. Still, that move on Hocevar is going to be talked about all week, and I wouldn't be surprised if other drivers remember it the next time they're around the number 23. Now let's flip the page to the complete opposite end of the emotional spectrum, because Chase Elliott finally got it done. First win of the season, career win number 22, and it didn't come easy. This was a straight-up strategy masterclass by crew chief Alan Gustafson and Hendrick Motorsports. For most of the race, Elliott wasn't even dominating. He started 10th and spent a lot of time stuck outside the top 5. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin was putting on a clinic, starting on pole and leading 292 of the first 317 laps. It looked like Hamlin's race to lose. But on lap 312, Gustafson made the big call, pit earlier than the other contenders. It was a gamble. The kind fans love when it works and rip apart when it doesn't. This time, it worked perfectly. When the caution flew, Elliott suddenly had track position. On the restart, Ross Chastain briefly took the lead by staying out, but Elliott got around him quickly and never looked back. He led the final 69 laps and held off Hamlin by just 0.565 seconds. That's Martinsville pressure right there. Behind them, Joey Logano finished third, followed by Ty Gibbs and William Byron. You could feel what this win meant to Elliott. This wasn't just another checkmark, it was validation, especially after Gustafson's strategy calls get questioned so often. Even Rick Hendrick called Gustafson that morning, reminding him this is a marathon, not a sprint. That mindset paid off in a big way. Elliott even pointed out that this win came exactly 11 years after his Cup Series debut on March 29, 2015, a race he finished 38th in, which Hamlin won. Full circle moment, beating Hamlin at the same track. That's pure NASCAR storytelling. So yeah, when you step back and look at the whole weekend, Martinsville gave us chaos, frustration, and serious consequences for one driver trying to hold onto momentum. And at the same time, a perfectly executed win that could kickstart a championship run. That's NASCAR. That's exactly why we watch every single week. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. What did you think about Bubba Wallace's move on Carson Hocevar? And did Chase Elliott just change the entire tone of his season with that win?